So just like we did in the first game, we started with the player-controlled character. In the first game, that was the monkey. In this game, it's the shark. And in the first game, then as soon as we were done with moving the player-controlled character, we moved to moving the non-player-controlled character. In this case, this fish. And so let's think about what should happen with this fish. I want my fish just to sort of randomly move around the screen in just sort of a random pattern. I don't want him to be necessarily scared of the shark or pursuing the shark or running away from the shark. I just want him to randomly wander around the screen. So if you think about this, that's the idea of forever. I want him to move. Well, what do I want him to do? Well, I mean, the idea is I want him to randomly turn some direction, right? And then move a couple of steps. And so the idea that you can get into with this, I mean, let's just look at this one for a second without even using the random. Let's just have him randomly turn some 15 degrees and move one step. Well, now when I run this, you see that he simply moves in a circle, right? And I don't want that. I don't want him to move in a circle. And so I want him to turn some random number of degrees, and we know from the previous video that there's the random number generator here. I could do from 1 to, let's do from 1 to 15, and that's a better step, right? He's still not, now he's not moving quite so much in circles, although that's still pretty much a circle, right? Instead, the way that we can get around this is don't always turn to the right. Don't always turn clockwise. If I change this to moving negative 15 to positive 15, I mean positive numbers mean turn in the clockwise direction some degree. But if I do a negative turn, even when I'm saying negative in the clockwise direction, a negative number of degrees in the clockwise direction is in fact the counterclockwise direction. And so you can see that now he sort of wiggles around and moves. Although you can see that he gets caught up on the edge of the screen, right? It takes a long time for him when he's up in a corner like he is right now to get off the edge of the screen. And you can, boy, he still hasn't gotten off. Normally by now he'd be off and coming back toward the center, but he's not doing it right now. So what we want to do is add one more thing here. We're going to go back to the motions menu and something that you haven't maybe seen me use at all, and that's the idea of if on the edge bounce. What this says is look at any of the four edges, left, right, top, bottom, and if the sprite is touching that edge, completely flip its direction. I shouldn't say flip because that sort of implies a 180-degree turn. This actually does bounce sort of like a ball would bounce, and so if it's coming up and it hits the left edge at sort of an upwards angle, it will deflect and go off to the right at an upwards angle. And so this works much better for this kind of thing. You can see he's sort of randomly moving, and maybe he'll sort of randomly work his way to the top here. Come on, get there, buddy. And when he hits there, you see that he sort of bounced his way off of the top, right? And this is not too bad. He's a little bit jittery, but we get some nice random movement. Maybe we should take the speed up a little bit. Let's have him move 2 each time. And so now he's sort of running away from us. And you could play with those parameters, maybe negative 15 to positive 15. Maybe you want negative 10 to positive 10, so it's not quite as jittery in his motion, right? Any of that stuff will work. But the idea is we've got this nice random movement of the fish that will have him bouncing around on the ocean. And we've got the shark following my cursor. And so what's the obvious next increment? Starting to have the fish eat, or sorry, the shark eat the fish.